The bipartisan crypto bill introduced by Senators Lummis and Gillibrand could be a major boon for the Bitcoin mining industry, according to Volt Equity. Joining us now to discuss is Volt Equity Head of Research, Nelson Hsieh. Hi, Nelson. Thanks for joining us. So I understand that you've already released a blog post on this subject. You've read through the bill, and you note that there's some potential positive impacts to Bitcoin miners from this crypto legislation. Perhaps you can give us your key takeaways.
Yes, I read through the bill, and it's really long, not the most interesting thing. But as I was reading through it, there's just a couple of places which I think it'll probably get overlooked because the sections of the bill that will actually influence miners are very small compared to the bill as a whole. But we did post an article last week on our website under the research section, and identified 3 different areas of impact that it's going to have on the mining industry. I'll start off with sort of the biggest one and then go to some of the smaller ones. But the biggest impact that the bill will have is on taxation of these miners. The bill, normally when the miners mine Bitcoin, all of the mined Bitcoin comes in as revenue, and it's realized in the year that it's mined, and then of course they'll get taxed on it. But this bill will delay the income recognition of that mined Bitcoin until they actually sell it or dispose of it, which, of course, holding it for a long time, or they could hold it and very strategically sell it. And then, of course, once they sell it, then that'll be recognized as taxable income. So the fact that, their revenue of the mined coin is no longer going to be taxable revenue, that's huge for these miners. Especially when you compare them to their Canadian or UK counterparts. The US miners will benefit a lot from this because, like in Canada, the tax rate for the miners there will be anywhere from 15 to 38%, depending on their deductions. So this is a huge advantage to boost US Bitcoin mining companies, because a lot of them, now some of them aren't paying any taxes as of now because they're not profitable.
What would the tax rate in the United States be for, in comparison?
Corporate tax rate right now is at 21%. So that gives you an idea, versus 15 to 38 in Canada. But this would basically wipe out any of the revenues that they gain from the mined coin would not be taxable until they sell it. Mm-hmm. And in that case, they could be very strategic about that selling in terms of taxes.
And I guess the second point here is that you believe that Bitcoin mining will actually help energy markets and promote renewable energy.
Yeah, so there's a part of the bill where they direct the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission to basically provide an annual report on the mining of digital assets, what it has, the effect that it has on energy prices, on baseload power, and then how much they're using in terms of renewables, and so on and so forth. So this could be, depending on how the study is conducted, obviously it could be good, it could be bad. We believe that the true facts will come out, that the 2 biggest things about Bitcoin and Bitcoin energy that we have to know, right, is that, number one, you can mine Bitcoin anywhere, right? So you can be in the middle of the desert where the sun is the brightest. You could be in the middle of nowhere where hydropower is the best. You can go to places where they have natural gas that's going to be wasted, that's going to be flared into the atmosphere, but they can, Bitcoin miners can go there and use that flared gas. So Bitcoin mining can happen anywhere. And then Bitcoin mining can also be turned off at any time, right? So if the grid has low demand, you can turn it on, mine, use up that energy that would have been wasted. If the grid has peak demand, then Bitcoin miners can turn off. It's not like a hospital, for example, right? You can't just turn off the power at any time you want it, but Bitcoin miners can do that. So I think that those facts are already there. They're being distorted or being ignored. Hopefully this report that gets commissioned essentially every year by this bill will bring out those facts that Bitcoin mining is good for renewables. It'll bring down prices because there's tons of times where energy is essentially wasted during non-peak times, and Bitcoin miners can take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm. We have about 60 seconds, but just wanted to let you go on to the third point, which is that it eliminates unnecessary reporting requirements.
Yeah, so the infrastructure bill last year, essentially the definition of broker, where a broker has to send you, a report on your capital gains and losses when you sell your digital asset. And it was poorly defined to where broker would basically include miners. So the new bill basically fixes that to make sure that miners are excluded. And what that tells us is that it's obviously important to get regulation right and that they understand the technology. So they got it wrong in 2021, and now it gives us a lot of confidence that Senators Loomis and others, they really understand the technology. So they went in and fixed that problem to where miners would have to report capital gains and losses. That would have been bad for them, but it's fixed now.